All right, good evening, everybody. No, I haven't recorded a video in a couple of weeks. Been a little bit busy, but I definitely didn't want to miss this week. And just point out a couple tidbits real quick. So, all right, we'll start this week off with the NASDAQ Composite Index, and I'm going to go straight to a weekly chart. I want to point out a couple things here. So we see that we had this sharp snapback, paying attention to the weekly chart. But look at where we snap back to, right back up to this 20-day moving period average, and then look here real close. We got this long wick above the body of this candle on this weekly chart, right at an area of resistance, and right at the 20-day. Right at the downtrend line on the weekly chart. So it looks like we could possibly be running into some resistance while price action is still trading below the 20-day moving average on the weekly chart. And if we look at all the other markets, we will see the same exact thing. Look at the Dow Jones on the weekly chart. We're going to see sort of kind of the same thing. Back up to the 20-day moving average, above it just a little bit, but like we are starting to stall out right there. So next week is on the next couple of weeks is going to be very interesting to see, if this downtrend resumes itself. It's Dow Jones, and if you look at the S&P 500, sort of kind of the same thing. Dow Jones, its S&P went just a little bit above that 20-day, but then we got this long wick on this one candle here and small body right at an area of resistance. So next couple of weeks are going to be very crucial as to how these markets trade. I still think we're on a longer term softening of the market. So if we look at a monthly chart, you'll see how we still look a bit overextended on a monthly chart. So I still think we this year is still going to be a little rough. Still think there's some more room to possibly break to the downside. Look at the monthly chart here on the S&P. Price action has found a way to bounce off of that 20-day moving average on a monthly chart. But I think this over the next couple of months, so we're going to start to see the monthly chart even start to break down. This is my opinion. That's the monthly chart on the S&P. The monthly chart on the Dow Jones. Same thing. Still looks super overextended on a monthly chart if we look at that very carefully and very closely. Still, it's like there's still some pressure this year to the downside. So 2022 is still going to be an exciting year, folks. Just looking at what could happen in this overall market. Will we finally break below this 20-day moving average on the monthly chart before 2022 is out? That is a possibility. So that's something to pay close attention to. Now, let's go back and take a look at the VIX. So if we look at the VIX, and I'm going to start by looking at the VIX weekly chart. So the VIX had a nice rally at one point. Look at, we sold right off, almost back down to an area of support. So, but look at look at the full wins percentage, oversold area. Look at the full stochastics, getting closer to that oversold area. So I think the VIX is almost to a point where we could see some kind of bounce again, folks. So drop below the 20-day moving average just a bit on the weekly chart. But even still, I still think the VIX has been in a downtrend for a couple of weeks now. So I'm looking to see if this is a red stale light on the VIX on the weekly chart, and we could be in a store for a possible reversal back to the upside. Look at the daily chart on the VIX here. Back below the 200-day moving average on the daily chart, but we're trying to find some kind of support here, possibly. So the next couple of weeks could be interesting to see if markets resume some downward pressure. So there's something to pay close attention to over the next couple of weeks. VIX definitely had a long stretch of red here. When normally we see a long stretch of red like that on a daily and on a weekly, long stretch of red on the VIX. So we'll see if that finally shakes itself out, goes back to the upside on the VIX. All right. Now let's take a look at crude oil. And my guess for crude oil, I think crude oil could be starting to see a range bound. I think crude oil wants to hover around this $100 level. Here's a weekly chart of crude. You can see looks like the oscillators are starting to pull back, but price action is like hovering just above this 20-day moving average on the weekly chart. So we could be bouncing around between this 95 to 100 or so level for a bit. And I want to draw your attention here soon in a second here to some individual stocks that I think still has a lot of momentum, especially with the energy, with oil prices just hovering around that $100 level. Some of these energy stocks I still think, even though oil is starting to, crude is starting to pretty much stay stagnant around this $100 level. I think some energy stocks still have some room to the upside. And I'm gonna point out a couple of those and what I've seen in the options market and what the technical analysis is showing for a few of these stocks. So that is crude oil. Let's take a look at gold real quick. So if we take a look at gold here, gold I still think it's pretty interesting with gold. Looking at the weekly chart, showing some pullback. We hit that level, right at that level of resistance, right around at almost 2078. Pull back again, and looks like gold is still hovering just above its 20-day moving average on the weekly chart. So I think there's still some room to run for gold. Right now, we are in a stagnation area or pullback area where we could see some more pressure to the downside, but I think we're going to probably hold at $1,900 level and maybe see some more upside in the near future. That is gold. Taking a look at copper. Copper also looks like it too could be finding an area of strong area of support. So copper looks like it is resting just above its 20-day moving average, which is this yellow line on the weekly chart. So copper still could see some more room to the upsides throughout this year. So copper also looks interesting. And take a look at natural gas. Natural gas showing a lot of strength as well. Here's a weekly chart of natural gas. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that 20-day moving average showing as a strong area of support. It's like natural gas wants to find a way to go higher this year. So these commodities, folks, still, may have some room to run. Now, with that said, so again, I still think there's probably some more room to the downside. I think the market's in a stagnation area, but right now, I do think we could start to see some more pullback in the overall markets. Look at small caps, looking at the IWM. Same type of scenario. If you look at a weekly chart here at IWM, see how price action travel right back up to that 20-day. And it's like we're starting to stall out there. So we could start to see some pullback in these markets. Here's the daily chart of the IWM. Look at where price action travel right back up to that 200-day moving average, and like it's starting to pull back. One more tool I want to point out to you guys is the SPXA 200R, which you guys know I track on a regular basis, and I'm always looking at to see what the overall sentiment of the market is. And I'm gonna look at a weekly chart on here too, because this was in a downtrend for a while until we hit an area of support. And I told you guys we'll probably get a bounce there, and we did. Got it down to almost where we were trading at, about 30% of stocks trading below the 200 moving average. We got a strong bounce there. And looks like, look where we went at, right back up to that 20-day period moving average. It looks like we may be ready to reverse again and start to head back down. And if we look at a daily chart of this tool, let's see where we had this nice bounce off of this level, traded back up almost up to that 200-day moving average. It's like we are starting to pull back. So I think the markets may be in a possible area where we could see some pullback, even looking at the momentum by looking at the breadth of this market by taking a look at this SPXA 200R. All right, now with that said, so we got an overall sentiment of the market. I'm gonna point out a couple things, folks. I just started using, if I can find this, I just started using a new market tool that could be extremely useful. So I just subscribed to Barchart Premium, and I was able to use a scanner that I'm starting to like very much. I mean, quite a bit here, and I want to share a couple things by taking a look at one of the two of the scan settings, a couple of scan settings I created, just to try to take a look at some unusual activity that's starting to show up in the options market. So I created a few scanners, and I'll probably do a more in-depth tutorial on this, but if I can get this thing to run for me. And so I set up a scan setting that I can search for particular options that are showing some unusual option activity. And one that continued to pop up over the past 2 weeks was ET, which is energy. I think it's energy transfer or something like that. Gotta look it up. But that one has been running, folks, and it's been running quite a bit. And I made some pretty good headway with this one. Equity energy transfer, which is a energy company, and it's been really running. And I like the way this weekly chart has been setting up. Looks like it's been in a downtrend for a minute and then all of a sudden we got to as low as $3, a little bit low, a little bit below $4 back in February. Since then, it's been in a nice continuation to the upside. And look at this weekly chart here, and we see how we are starting to get a bounce off of that 20-day moving average. So this one looks like it has some sustaining power. It's a monthly chart. Also looks like we're just starting to get a bounce with the bottom. So this energy stock could be a winner this year. I've been trading call spreads on this one probably over the past month, and it's been very lucrative. Just took profits and re-entered for a longer term position, another longer term contract as well. So this is one that you may want to put on your radar. That's energy transfer. Another one that continued to pop up was PBR. And it's another energy company, PBR. Another one you might want to put on your radar. It too looks like it is, if you look at a monthly chart, it looks like it's ready to bounce off the bottom. You got our 20-day moving average starting to move up on the monthly chart. So this one also looks like it has some staying power. Here's a weekly chart. Pull back to that 20-day and bounce right off of it. So PBR looks like it also has some staying power, folks. And the options market also seems to agree. So those are the ones that popped up the most, PBR and ET. Two that popped up on my radar the most over the past month or so. So I wanted to share that with you guys, PBR, ET. And let me see if I can find another scan with another setting that I created. And again, this one shows PBR at the top. A lot of these energy companies show folks, PBR, KOS, Oxy, ExxonMobil, FCX Gold. They're just popping up on a regular basis. And a couple biotech stocks, BM, Bristol Myers, Merck. CCJ is another one that has been popping up on a regular basis, folks. And of course, CCJ is a aspect of uranium, deals with uranium, and uranium stocks have been off the chain lately. So here is CCJ weekly chart. It's been on a tear. As you can see, the 20-day moving average is starting to turn up as well. So I wanted to point those out, give you guys some things to look at, folks. If you want to, if you'd like to see some of my daily screens that I do with this bar chart without becoming a member, be sure to reach out to me via Twitter, or those guys who follow me on Discord with the group that I'm in now. You can reach out to me there as well. But wanted to point those couple things out, folks, and hopefully this is something that you guys can use. Again, there's always something to trade in this market, and as you can see, there's definitely some winners that we can pick up, and also some bearish trades we can put on with the overall market looking like it wants to stall out where we are now. All right, folks, hopefully this is something you can use. Until next time, hopefully I'll be back with another review on next weekend. Have a great weekend, folks.